Hello YouTube, Jared here, back with another video, and today I want to talk to you about a rather unique problem that I have that I call the Rhino Problem. As you can see, I have one Rhino here. This is my Chaos Space Marine Rhino conversion that I did, and I built it up for my Red Corsairs a year ago, and now the Red Corsairs are getting more models and units and more featuring, and so I'm really glad I decided to pick Red Corsairs. But this is my Red Corsairs Rhino, and I can run it with this piece and pretend it's a Predator, or I can run it with the regular roof and run it classic Rhino style. And then I was able to get some decals for it off of a guy on Etsy, so really happy with that. But this is my very first Rhino. Back when I started the hobby, I didn't really have any Rhinos, and I didn't think I could afford Rhinos, but I got a Christmas sale, and I bought one Rhino because that was about all that was left in the store. I got to the Warhammer store late, and it was picked over. But they had a Rhino, so I bought a Rhino on the Christmas sale. And so I managed to get one Rhino, and it joined my Chaos Forces, and this is it. So this is my very first Rhino. But I always heard YouTubers and people in the hobby saying, jokingly, that Rhinos were free. Well, my Rhino wasn't free. I had to pay a good amount of money for it, and then the kits have gone up in price, and nowadays a Rhino costs $60. So what was up with this Rhinos are free? You know, I always heard that. I'm like, well, maybe they're free in the UK, or they're free if you have lots of friends who play the game. I don't really have very many Warhammer friends. So maybe Rhinos are only free if you just know a bunch of older guys who have extra Rhinos to give away. But my Rhinos are definitely not free. There's no way I'm getting free Rhinos. Well, fast forward a year and a half later, and I got into trading. And so this is my one Rhino, and in a trade deal, I happened to get two more Rhino chassis. And these were both very badly painted, and so I stripped all the paint off. One of them had little cardboard. This one had a cardboard piece right here to make a door, and I took that off. And so I'm looking at these going, well, I could probably find a way to refurbish. I've got this extra set of doors, so I can, you know, move this over here maybe, and then find something to put right here, and I got some extra bits, and maybe I can fix these up, and then I'll have a couple more Rhinos. And so I'm thinking, all right, I got 3 Rhinos, and then I'm hunting around on Facebook Marketplace and eBay looking for more deals, and I bought a big trade deal, and guess what I got? 3 more Rhino chassis. So now I'm sitting on 6 Rhino chassis, except for that's not all. There was also lots of bits to fix up these Rhinos, extra weapons, extra little inserts, and just a big old stack of half-used sprues. And in these sprues is another Rhino chassis, which means once I build this Rhino, I now have, this is a sprue to a Astra Militarum vehicle, not even a Rhino, but there's some cool bits on it, so I'm saving that. But all said, I have enough bits here for 7 Rhino chassis. And now comes the Rhino problem. You see, Rhinos are not free, but once you get into trading, Rhinos are kind of the baseline currency. And so if you ever were in old MMOs or like shooters or back in the day, I used to play TF2, and scrap was the intermediary trade currency. If you couldn't work out a trade and one guy's thing was more valuable, you'd trade something as an intermediary to make the trade worth it. And I'm starting to get the impression that's kind of what Rhinos are. Rhinos are the thing you trade to kind of fill in the deal, because everybody has more than enough Rhinos apparently. And I've now got more Rhinos than I know what to do with. So that's the first half of the Rhino problem, is what do I do with all these Rhinos? Now, my first thought is, these are mechanized infantry vehicles. These are troop transports. And so the idea of having a squad for each Rhino, and they all drive up the board and deploy their squad, and having a big army, if you know my channel, you know I love big armies. That would be really, really cool. There is no way around it. That would be incredible. But there's a problem. The Rhinos are an older kit, and they're pre-Primaris. And so the Rhinos, current rules only allow you to take the old First Board Marines, which I don't have. And I'm not going out and buying 6 boxes of tactical Marines that may go away in a few months or in the next year or so just to fill in these Rhinos, because by the time I got all of it painted, they wouldn't have rules or they'd be legacy. So I don't really want to buy, I don't want to buy old models, but I also don't want to homebrew too much and be like, the Primaris guys just ride in Rhinos. I suppose I could do that, but then that's a homebrew version of the game and not the proper 40K, and I couldn't really play it at any kind of store or anything like that, unless I got permission from my opponent. But that feels a little bit weird to do too. So the Space Marines barely use the Rhinos anymore, but the Chaos Space Marines definitely still use the Rhino chassis. So it's still a big piece. It's in some of their combat patrols. Like, do I go all in on Chaos and build this as the mechanized infantry of the Chaos Space Marines? Because I'm getting the Hachette magazine for combat patrol, and in this slot I was able to get some more Chaos Space Marines, and so I've got a good Chaos Space Marine force starting. And so it's very feasible I could build at least 4 of these Rhinos as just troop transports, Chaos Vindicator, and then put a tank top on at least one of these guys, pun intended, and make it into Annihilator. And so I could have a mechanized Chaos army. But is that really what I want to do? I mean, that would be really, really cool, but that's a pretty big painting project. Because I kind of have enough units already in my Chaos army from the magazine. I'm getting, I think, a Forge Fiend. I've got some heroes in there. I've got a bunch of other stuff. And so that creates the question, is that really what I want to build? And so I'm trying to decide that. And then there's always that question of, is the Rhino ever going to get discontinued? You know, I don't want to spend hours and hours building and kit bashing this and have it discontinued right away. Though I'm not against playing older versions of the game in theory, or legacy rules. I don't mind legacy rules. But at the same time, I only have so much time to game and play and paint. And I'd rather game and play and paint stuff that I know that's going to be around for a long time and stretch my hobby dollars out. I can't go back in time and enjoy these things for the last 10-something years or however long this kit's been around, maybe 20 now. I don't even know how old the Rhino kit is. But at the end of the day, it's a fun kit to build. It's a fun kit to restore. In these guys' case, it's a fun kit to kit bash. It's a great kit, but I don't have a Sister Sororitas army, so there's no use there. My Chaos Space Marine army doesn't really need 7 Rhinos or even Rhino chassis vehicles, though I could maybe make it work if I really wanted to. And there's not a Space Marine application. I'm planning to build multiple Space Marine chapters. I'm planning on building out some Black Templars this year and finishing my Imperial Fists, finishing my Ultramarines. And yet, these don't really fit in those lists at all. Maybe the Vindicator does. Maybe I can take some other tank bits and make I think I might have 1 or 2 top pieces to turn them into the Predators and turn them into the proper tanks. But are those going to stay in the game? Are those going to be even worth playing in next edition? Because my plan is to really jump in next edition. And so I don't even know if that's going to even be feasible at this point. And so it creates this very weird Rhino situation where I'm not sure what to do with all these Rhinos. I like having them all. I'm not like jonesing to trade them away, but what do I do with 7 Rhinos? So this is where I'm asking you guys. Do you have any ideas for what I should do with 7 Rhinos? Do I just sit on them for 6-8 months and see what becomes of them? Do I commit to the Chaos mechanized infantry? Do I split my Chaos into 2? Do I go, all right, I've already got so many Red Corsairs, finish the Red Corsairs, and then build another Chaos force? I'm going to be getting World Eaters in the magazine at the end of the year. Do the World Eaters use Rhinos? I don't know. If you know about World Eaters and Rhinos, let me know. That might be something I need to look into. So there's options here. I could go with another Chaos army. I don't think there's really a Space Marine viable option right now, which is really a bummer. There's a part of me that would love to build a Rhino for every single one of my chapters, but then what am I going to do with that? I don't know. Like, maybe I turn this into an Imperial Fist, and this one I turn into a tank and turn it into the Ultramarines, and another one I could try to convert into a Black Templar vehicle. But I mean, I don't want to do all that work and all that painting and all the decals and all the stuff and then find out that it's not good in the game or worth playing or very viable. And especially because I don't have any tactical Marines, they're not useful as troop transports. They'd only be able to be used really as the specialty tank variants. And so that creates a rather odd situation here. So that's what I'm looking at right now with these Rhinos. And then, like I said, I got another Rhino right here on sprue. So I've got a 7th Rhino over here. I think I do have enough weapon bits and pieces, and I have bodies and extra heads and chassis to stick on here. And the guy before me did magnetize the side sponsons, and so it's really nice I have those weapons already ready to go. On these two are magnetized. This one's not. This one doesn't have sponsons, and then this one, of course, is got the upgrade to have the gun in the front. So I think it's called the Vindicator. But let me know what you would do in the comments, and I appreciate you watching and leaving comments and helping me as I brainstorm what to do about my Rhino problem. I finally figured out that Rhinos aren't free, but once you start trading, you wind up with a bunch of free Rhinos after all. So maybe Rhinos were free and I was wrong the whole time, but that's been a rather funny revelation for me. But I hope this video was interesting for you, and if you have ideas, leave them for me. Thank you. Bye.